All right, folks. So, I am a fair person. I consider myself to be a fair person. Recently, I have been speaking about the troubles of the People's Party. And people have told me that Nick Brana went on the Jimmy Dore show to respond to some of the allegations against him. And so this is a 24-minute video. I will be watching this probably on like 1.5x. So please understand that. I'm not going to sit here for 24 minutes. I'll pause a lot because that's the kind of person I am. But I'm going to tell you, I haven't seen this yet, but I'm going to guess what's going to be in this. Because I have been following the People's Party for a long time. And this is the playbook. So what's going to happen is everyone who disagrees with Nick Brana is a secret liberal Democrat Party shill. And were paid by Nancy Pelosi to infiltrate the People's Party and destroy it from within. That's going to be my guess. A lot of people say, oh, well, the People's Party, it's a populist party. And so we don't want liberals in the populist party. I don't know what that means. If your party is populist, shouldn't you appeal to everyone? But we're going to get into this. Now, again, folks, real quick, there was a big fight in the People's Party over multiple things. Nick Brana wanted to make a public statement of the People's Party to be anti-vax. They wanted to be anti-mandate, anti-vax, and they wanted to make that public. Half of the People's Party were like, what? What? Like, are you serious? Like, because for those of you that don't know the scam, this is a pyramid scheme. This is a Ponzi scheme. The People's Party. And I'm going to be very clear. And again, I'm going to play this whole video here. So, I'm being fair. They bring people in to do free labor under the guise of volunteering for organizing a People's Party. So they do free labor, going out and calling people to say, hey, look, it's a People's Party, join. Hey, look, People's Party, donate to the People's Party. So they get people to do free labor and fundraise for Nick Brana's personal project. Nick Brana, his father is the Treasury Secretary of the People's Party. We know that the People's Party spent $20,000. They are not that big of an organization, so $20,000 is a big amount. On a logo, first of all, $20,000 on a logo. What? They spent $20,000 on a logo that never even got made. Where did that money go? Very curious. Again, it is a Ponzi scheme by all definition. They bring people in thinking, oh, we're going to break up the duopoly. Again, I agree. Fuck the duopoly. Fuck the Democratic Party. Fuck the Republican Party. Fuck them. I agree with that. But they bring people in that are rightfully disillusioned with the parties. Oh, we're going to shake things up. We're going to get a third party. We're going to break the duopoly. They volunteer their time without pay. That's the key part. They volunteer. They made a culture that appreciates volunteers. They profit all of the fundraising. They pocket, rather, all of the fundraising. And then launder it via donations or purchasing a logo to people. Who knows where that money went? Probably one of their friends. It was probably just one of their friends. And they spent $20,000 on a logo. And then whatever. Again, it's a Ponzi scheme. So with that being said, if you're still falling for the People's Party bandwagon, dumber than dirt. But feel free to listen to me tear apart Nick Brana's response. On top of all of this, Nick Brana is accused of sexual harassment. Now again, you can be romantically involved with someone. You can fuck someone 30 times. That's great. I endorse fucking people consensually. Okay? Fuck everyone you want as long as it's consensual. But then the moment that person revokes consent, you're done. Right? So it doesn't matter if they used to fuck or if they wanted to fuck at another point. That's irrelevant. What matters is when someone says no, you back off. Nick Brana did not get the memo. So he went on the Jimmy Dore show. The Jimmy Dore, again, a Russian asset. Let's be honest here. He's pro-Putin. He is pro-invasion of Ukraine. At this point, it's very clear Jimmy Dore is a Russian asset. Let's be honest. Anyone denying that is a dumb fuck. Nick Brana went on the Jimmy Dore show to give a propaganda piece. Again, fundraising. This is all a big fun. Nick Brana is going to go up here, say the liberals got me. Please donate to the People's Party so we can replace the liberal insurgents. And then his dad, who so happens to be the Treasury Secretary, they're just going to pocket the money. So let's watch.
He's Nick Brana. He was Bernie Sanders' National Political Outreach Coordinator in 2016. He's the
That is also not true. Nick Brana has consistently lied about his position in the 2016 Bernie campaign. He did not have this he was the national spokesperson, He was never in such a high-ranking position. That's part of the mythology.
Next guest, he's Nick Brana. He was Bernie Sanders' National Political Outreach Coordinator in 2016. He's the co-founder of the People's Party, a new political party set to shake up America's broken political system.
First of all, People's Party is not new. They've been around since 2017. At least the Green Party is running candidates that are getting 2%. At least. The People's Party has yet to run a single candidate. They are not even filed as a party in 49 states. So
he helped organize Occupy Congress and an ongoing action on Capitol Hill. Please welcome Nick Brana. Hi, Nick. Good to see you.
Hey, Jimmy. Good to see you. And thank you, by the way, for making everyone at the People's Party watch that. Your segments on mandates and the social credit system that it's leading to with Max. A lot of people need to see that.
Okay, fantastic. Having you on today, Nick, because there's been some accusations leveled at you. Now, you know how it goes. When you get to the left of the Democratic Party, there's a playbook on how to take you down. Now, so you've been accused by people of a kind of sexual harassment, right? Is that correct? Can you tell me what's going on?
So again, I am accused of sexual harassment. So I'm going to go on someone else's show who was openly accused of sexual harassment and then defended it and then said it was no big deal. I'm just saying, if I am ever accused of sexual harassment, the first thing I'm not going to do is go on an open and confirmed sexual harasser show to talk about how I didn't do anything. I'm just saying, Jimmy Dore is not where you want to be going. If you are trying to dispel this notion. But again, it's all propaganda. It's all propaganda because Jimmy Dore, his audience is inoculated. His audience has been vaccinated against caring about sexual harassment. And so that's why Nick Brana is going on here. He knows everyone watching Jimmy Dore is cool with sexual harassment because Jimmy Dore is a sexual harasser. So in order to watch Jimmy Dore and respect Jimmy Dore, you have to be okay with sexual harassment. So he's fishing in those waters very purposefully, and that's important to understand.
That's right. This is a part of this. This is the playbook that's done, essentially. We've seen it with Julian Assange. We've seen it with the New York mayoral candidate, Shahid Buttar. This is done. You warned me. Lee Camp warned me. So many people have warned me that this eventually happens if you challenge the establishment long enough. There have been efforts to buy me out.
So again, folks, this is not the first time that they've used this playbook. The People's Party, I'm drinking seltzer, please bear with me. The People's Party have done mass firings of board members several times. If you ever criticize or offer constructive criticism in People's Party Slacks, you will get banned. Even if you're a volunteer, you've phone banked for 8 hours on behalf of the People's Party, giving them a lot of money and fundraising and giving them your time. They will literally ban you if you say, hey, what's going on with this? Hey, are we planning anything for that? They will ban you because they don't want criticism at all.
Literally by some of the richest people in the world, offered me jobs. There have been efforts to character assassinate me, DNC members, and eventually this is done to people who challenge the establishment enough. It was done to you. It's been done to so many people. And so there was an effort inside the People's Party as well to do this to me. And it's situated in a larger effort to really turn the People's Party in a more liberal direction that opposes mandates, that is okay with having Democrats run our national committee, our state committees. And in fact,
so he made a little bit of a misspeech there. But what he is saying is that Democrat insurgents, these liberals, so to speak, went in the party, donated hundreds and hundreds of hours of free time and labor and money to destroy the People's Party because they're liberals and they think that vaccines work. The people... Now, again, I want you to understand one of the big fights that happened, right? Right, like, as Paula Jean quit the People's Party, right, was Nick Brana wanted the People's Party to come strongly out as anti-vax. He wanted the party itself, not Nick Brana. He wanted the party itself to come out against vaccines. Okay? So, and everyone else was like, actually, vaccines are kind of good. So, I don't know what to tell you. And then he was like, rah, liberal! And then banned everyone. Again, if you are being... Again, you ever notice how the populist parties are always, let's work with right-wingers and neo-Nazis. It's never, let's work with people that agree that vaccines and hand washing are a good idea. Let's agree with people that think that duopoly sucks, but also like to wash their hands before supper time. You ever notice? It's always, oh, let's Canadian trucker neo-Nazis. They're great. Putin, neo-Nazi, great. All the neo-Nazis are wonderful. It's the liberals that you got to watch out for. This is like Andrew Cuomo going on Chris Cuomo. That is so true. This is literally, it is the same fucking thing. That is so true. All right.
When others expressed opposition to that, really, this was used to try, these allegations against me have been used to try to take the party in a much more liberal direction as opposed to a populist direction, whereas the majority of the party is...
Now, what do these words mean, liberal and populist? If you sat down... Now, I just want to say very clear and explicitly, Nick Brana, come on my show, buddy. I would love to have Nick Brana come on my show. Open invitation. But what does liberal and what does populist mean? In this context. Liberal, in my opinion, is probably anyone that supports capitalism. What does populist mean? Well, populist honestly doesn't even mean anything. Let's be honest. Like, you know, fun fact, there is a People's Party in Canada. They're the neo-Nazi party. Whoops. So, I'm not saying that means that Nick Brown is a neo-Nazi or that they're coordinating with the Canadian People's Party. I'm just saying it's interesting. But what does populist mean? Populist makes it seem like, oh, something's popular. So, being anti-vax is popular, apparently. Americans typically want the pandemic to last even longer. Right? That's why it's so dumb. This anti-vax, anti-mandate position helps big business. At the end of the day, these are liberals. Nick Brana and Jimmy Dore are liberals. They are parroting Joe Biden administration talking points. They are parroting talking points from neoliberal think tanks that want capitalism to keep on chugging, because if we did a lockdown, that would hurt our bottom line. That would hurt our profits. Lockdowns for public health? No way. These are the pro-Medicare for all people. We want to give people free healthcare so bad that when we actually get free healthcare for once, we're going to tell everyone not to take it. You're telling me the vaccine that can end this pandemic and make sure that no one else dies from this virus is free. Healthcare is free. And you're telling people not to take it. This is the Medicare for All party.
Solidly populist, and I believe is in favor of coming out against the mandates.
So you're saying this is politically motivated by people inside the party. This accusation is over politics. And so what action was taken? So is there some kind of internal process?
So to be very clear, this mandate bullshit was after, like, Nick Brana was under sexual harassment investigation in December of 2021, according to the Status Quo bombshell report. And this happened in February. So he's been under investigation for 3 months. If the investigation was political, wouldn't they have politicized it 3 months ago? I'm just asking.
That happens when someone makes an accusation like this?
Absolutely. There was. And so the individual who accused me brought her complaint to the board, and the board convened the board of the People's Party, the National Coordinator Circle. They convened an investigation. This is our process. Worked with our general counsel on this. That investigation, within a couple weeks, they took testimony from myself, from the individual accusing me. They also interviewed the two of us. They examined the evidence, and within a couple weeks, they had
wait a second. They took testimony and they interviewed you? So first they took testimony, and then after that was over, wait a couple days, and then they interview you? Interesting.
concluded that, in fact, this was politically motivated and that there was no evidence. And later, she even admitted that she had no evidence to back up the claims. And they called it...
Okay, to be very clear, this board of investigators did not come to a conclusion. That is not true. Second of all, there being no evidence of something doesn't mean it didn't happen. I have been raped and sexually assaulted before. I don't have evidence of it. I didn't film it. Does that mean it didn't happen? What? What? I'm just like...
a coup attempt. That, of course, there were a couple of members of the board who were opposed to how I was leading the party and had a more liberal vision, along with contractors who were working with us, had a more liberal vision for the party, as opposed to the populist vision that the majority of the party had and that I had. And that was what motivated these allegations
now,
in the first place.
Now, again, a majority of the party did not have this, quote, populist vision. If it did, they would have made a statement because they would have won the votes. From my understanding of the reports, it was pretty deadlocked, 50-50, and that's why he ended up firing about half the board. So again, he's lying already.
And these board members who helped facilitate and help conspire to create these allegations with her, with my accuser, they had expressed a long-standing interest in getting rid of me or replacing me. And so from start to finish, this has been politically motivated. It was supposed to conclude within a week or two. It didn't. It was extended. When they realized there was no evidence, it was extended over the course of several weeks, over the course of months, and ultimately culminated in an attempt to remove me and other members of the national leadership and dozens of delegates from the party, populist delegates, for political disagreements with this other group.
So,
okay. So let's be as charitable as we possibly can here. Okay, so it's political. They disagree with you because you're an anti-vax freak, and other parts of the party think, hey, maybe we should try to tell people to actually embrace free healthcare. Wouldn't it have been great for Medicare for All if everyone got the vaccine in April 2021 and then we just ended the pandemic? And then it would be like, whoa, free healthcare ended the pandemic. Wouldn't that have been a great marketing strategy? Well, these people are fucking weird, man. They're fucking strange. They're very strange people. But again, it is a political party. If people disagree in a political party, they vote, right? And the majority, or, you know, whatever the threshold is the one that the party goes with in that direction. What do you mean? You're telling me, wait, people in a political party were engaging politically? Whoa! Whoa! I have never heard that before. Next, you're going to tell me you're going to have primaries. And that people are going to run for office, and then someone might get less votes and lose the primary and then not get to run for office under the People's Party label. Whoa! Whoa! You're telling me people in a political party were acting politically. You're telling me people in a political party that didn't like your leadership wanted to vote for someone else to lead the political party? Politically? Whoa. Doesn't that sound like fucking Hillary Clinton? Like, let's be honest. This sounds exactly like Hillary Clinton.
So you're saying that you wanted to make a populist party. They had a different idea. They wanted to make it what it sounds like, Democrat light, right, of a party. And they were...
The whole point of a People's Party was it's a party for people. If you disagree, that makes you a Democrat light? What does that even mean? What's the problem with the Democratic Party? The problem is it's corrupt, right? The problem is like, oh, AOC went in there and she wants to defund the police and she can't get that through and because of the corruption. So we should make our own party where we want to defund the police and then we'll be able to get that through because question mark, right? So if someone agrees with you, fuck the Democratic Party, and they're doing a third party that is pro-left wing, None of this makes any sense, but they just say it and people lap it up.
Against certain things. They were for mandates, and they were against things that were at the core principle of the party. And so now I'm reading in the statement that you released, and it says here that the accuser's original complaint had not even used the word sexual harassment. What was the original complaint about that?
That's correct. It was the members of the board who had a political opposition to me who, in fact, gave it that term, sexual harassment. And later, the allegation was even escalated by her because she changed her story. As members of the committee later told me, every time that they spoke with her, one of them said, quote, every time I speak with her, she tells me a different story. Every time I speak with you, you tell me the same. Another member of the committee, a 3-person committee who was brought together to investigate, that concluded that, in fact, there was no merit to these allegations, found dozens of inconsistencies in her own statements. This is what happens to people who challenge the establishment, who challenge the power authority.
Okay, so, all right. Different does not mean, like, contradicting details. As someone who's been through multiple traumatic events in my life, I can tell you, the way I describe those traumatic events change over time. Now, it's one thing if I say I was on the roof when this happened, and the next day I say I was actually in the basement. That is a contradicting detail. Different does not mean contradicting. That needs to be, like, he's saying that she told different stories each time, not contradicting stories. Who cares if they were different? Sometimes you remember things in a different way. Sometimes you explain something in a slightly different way. Sometimes you add on a couple details you forgot the first time. Were the stories contradicting each other? And also, again, this whole politically motivated. It's a political fucking party, douchebag. It's a fucking political fucking party, you stupid douchebag. Of course the people are going to be political in a fucking political fucking party. Absolute snowflake baby.
Over enough time, this is what inevitably appears to occur because the establishment, we've seen it against so many candidates, so many leaders of movements, the establishment will weaponize any kind of identity or any kind of allegations of sexual harassment against people who are trying to challenge the establishment.
Well, it is a playbook. It definitely is. There's no doubt about it that's a playbook.
Okay, sure. Sometimes that happens. And
if you get to look what if you get to the left of the Democratic Party, their playbook is you smear them. You call them alt-right. You call them a white supremacist. You call them racist. You call them a sexist. They did that to, and then you accuse them of a weaponized #MeToo thing, and that's the playbook. That's how it's worked. They did it to Shahid Buttar, that total garbage. They did it in the New York mayor's race. He was accused of groping someone he was dating. So, and then they giggled about it. The people making the accusations giggled about it.
I love how he just oh yeah, someone was accused of groping while dating, as if that's impossible. Oh, you're dating, so that means you get to just, like, have sex with me whenever, however, because we're dating. What if you're not in the mood right now? Now, I'm not, not everyone is horny 24/7. If you're walking down the street and your partner starts fucking, like, motorboating your titties or something, and there's, like, people everywhere staring at you, that's fucking weird. It doesn't matter if you're dating. Like, what? So already, now again, yes, it is true. Sometimes people will falsely declare someone a sexual harasser with no reasoning, and that does happen. That is true. It has happened before, and it probably will happen again. That's why you investigate things. But now, again, these people are going to say you cannot sexually harass or assault someone you're dating. These are not the arbiters of what is sexual harassment. They're done. One strike, you're done. You don't know what sexual assault or harassment even is. Why would I listen to you talk about this? At all.
On television. So this is not uncommon. It happened to me, right? Everybody saw it. It happened to me right out in the open. And
it happened right out in the open. What does that mean? It happened right out in the open, as opposed to not in the open? What?
So, they called Bernie a sexist. They called Jill Stein a Russian.
Who's they? I think it's kind of safe to say Jill Stein doesn't have the best intentions on a lot of things. I voted for Jill Stein, so I'm allowed to say that. But who is they here? Who is they? I I'm so interested in who the fuck they is. Who the fuck is they? Because it seems to me that they is changing every time. First, they is the liberals. Then they is the Democrats. Then they is the non-democratic party, but still liberals. Then they are the populists. Then they are the people that disagree with me in my political party. Who the fuck is they? Who is they in each one of these?
If you get to the left, Joe Rogan endorsed Bernie Sanders. So he's immediately a racist. He's immediately a right-winger. And he's never voted for a Republican in his life. So this is the playbook, right?
He's never voted for a Republican in his life. Didn't he vote for Donald Trump? Didn't he say he voted for Donald Trump? And also, people aren't calling Joe Rogan a racist because he endorsed Bernie Sanders. People are calling Joe Rogan a racist because he constantly talks about racism on his show. He just had Jordan Peterson on his show like a month ago talking about like race realism. And how like, whoa, you know, like black people, man, they're like different. That's what he was talking about on his show with Jordan Peterson a month ago. That's why people call him racist. Now, you can maybe disagree and maybe say like, oh, I don't think he's racist. He's just really stupid and he doesn't mean it or whatever. That's fine, right? But no one calls him racist because he endorsed Bernie Sanders. No one does that. 0 people have done that. I'm just saying. No one thinks Joe Rogan is a racist or a right-winger because he endorsed Bernie Sanders. People disagreed with him endorsing Bernie Sanders. At the time, I thought it was a good idea, personally. But you could disagree with him for endorsing Bernie Sanders from any position. But it's not related to him then, at other points in time, being a racist right-wing weirdo. So again, this guy he's not telling you the truth.
Right? So, and it seems like there isn't any there's no backing up. Well, it says that the whistleblowers at the accuser's last place, the person who, what's the name of the person accusing you?
I'm not. You're not allowed to say
the
name now. Not saying the name. I don't want to go into that. But yes.
Okay, so
I know what you're getting at.
It says the whistleblowers at the accuser's last place of employment told us that she had done the same thing at their organization, and she was presently doing with us, accusing board members of sexual harassment and abuse, using it to split the board and demand professional advancement. It also turned out that she was friends and former colleagues with Shahid Buttar's accuser, who had sought to sink his congressional challenge to Nancy Pelosi, and even tried to get us to hire her What? So the person who's accusing you wanted you to hire Shahid Buttar's accuser?
Correct. And you're right that she had done this at the last organization that she worked at.
So I had heard that before. You know, that's not, come on. Now, is there any proof that she tried to get you to hire Shahid Buttar's accuser? Because that would be crazy.
But yes, we have messages exchanges and conversations. Yes.
Okay.
I wonder if any of that's going to be made public. If you've got irrefutable evidence that this person is a plant, wouldn't you publicize it? I'm just saying, I would. If I was with 100% certainty that someone who was going after me was a Democrat Party plant, I would fucking publish that shit ASAP. Right? But guess what? I'm guaranteeing you they're not doing that because they know that this person is not a Democrat Party plant, and they're not saying their name because they don't want to escalate this situation because then it might get into legal trouble for them. Again, every single fucking time anyone criticizes Nick Brana, they're a Democrat Party plant. In fact, go to my fucking channel page. I made a video about the People's Party like yesterday. And people called me a fucking Democrat Party plant. Hold up. I'm going to show you that. Like, this is like the fucking... This is the playbook for these people. Where is this People's Party video? Here it is. Hold up. Let me show you the comments I got when this story broke. These are the comments I got. It's the same every time. It's the same bullshit every single time. So here's the comments I got on my video from yesterday. Nick Brana is a straight up good guy. And he has some really good people and some planted moles to create chaos and discord. I believe the commentator here is a very solid place set aside in hell. So, I'm going to hell because I don't like someone on the internet. I'm going to hell? Wouldn't you want people to go to hell if they're like war criminals or murderers? Or rapists? Because I don't like someone online, am going to hell. Isn't that a little extreme? Isn't that a little fucking extreme? I'm sorry. Even if everything I did was wrong, and even if I was truly super incorrect and Nick Brana is a great guy, do I really belong in fucking hell? Like, let's be honest. Come on, bro. But again, look at this. This is 15 minutes ago. So, like, literally, like, as I'm doing this live stream, people are coming to this video and giving the talking points. They've been programmed. These are NPCs that have been programmed, folks. This is like you're playing Skyrim and someone got shot with an arrow into their knee or something. These people are not actual human beings. They have no critical thinking skills at all. They are NPCs. And he has some really good people. Many people. I have the best people. The best people. And some planted moles. What does that mean? Planted moles. What is that language? So again, 3 hours ago, this was this morning, and I responded before the show. Another Me Too liberal smear of someone actually challenging power. First of all, does Nick Brana actually challenge power? No. They don't. How have they challenged power? Saying, I do declare I don't like Democrats, that's challenging power? That's not challenging power. That's just saying you don't like Democrats. Oh, I'm going to start an organization, not a political party because it's not registered anywhere. I'm going to start an organization to make money, and I'm going to give $20,000 for a logo that never happened. I'm challenging the establishment. What? How is that challenging the establishment? Like, I'm just saying, it's just the friend of Shade Bitar's accuser. These shit-lib infiltrators wanted to look at this. Shit-lib infiltrator. Wanted to turn People's Party into a liberal party. We are a populist party. That's how we defeat power. The workers against the oligarchy. Okay, so you're a People's Party, you're populist, that's how you defeat power. Can you give me one example of that happening? So again, you can look at more of these comments, but I'm getting distracted because I'm high. But again, they get their talking points, they get their programming, they install their firmware update, and then they're deployed to go harass people incessantly with the same talking points. Now, again, every time I get these comments, right, like, you know, I want to invite them on the show. I'm not convinced that these are real people. I'm going to be honest with you. I am not convinced that these are real people with real unique identities. I'm not. So every time these people comment, I invite them on the show. I invited one of these fucking freaks on the show the other day. And they were posting in the chat, they were trolling in the chat, and as soon as I started the call, they left. And they said, oh, can't do it. Right? I am convinced that these force the vote weirdos are not real people. I'm convinced. Some of them maybe are real people. It's possible. But I'm convinced most of these comments that I get are not real people. Because if they were real and they act... Wouldn't you want to come on my show and own the liberal smear? Democrat?
And then so the board members and your general counsel decided that you had to take action to safeguard the party before they attempted to purge the party of populist leaders, delegates...
Action to safeguard the party. Isn't that the same thing Democrats say? When they criticize the squad for wanting universal health care or child tax credit? Oh, we're doing this because we got to safeguard the party. What about those in the battleground states? We can't talk about defunding the police, the party. We got to think about the party. It's about the party.
And volunteers. We also knew that we couldn't let them continue to abuse volunteers, shift our message and our mission to identity politics, because that's what it seemed like to me that was happening. That certainly seemed like from the outside that, in fact...
Identity politics? One of these people, can someone tell me what the fuck identity politics means? And what does getting vaccinated against the coronavirus have to do with identity politics? What?
I even warned you about it, right? I even warned you about that.
Correct.
I go, hey, these people aren't on board with your vision. This is not the right fit, and you should clean house. And I told you that a long time ago. Having failed to derail the party away from the populist mission that has galvanized thousands nationwide, we can expect relentless attacks on the party and me. Expect those who were removed to attack on DNC-aligned and billionaire-funded media outlets that have long sought to bring down the People's Party, especially since forced to vote. As long as I'm with the People's Party, we'll never submit to the threats and blackmail. So that's what it is.
I mean, this guy's got main character syndrome. They really, like, he actually thinks that, like, George Soros is spending money to punish him because he wanted to force the vote. Democrat oligarch billionaire funded because you wanted to force the vote. What?
I mean, that's what, immediately I was like, well, I warned you this was going to happen. It's going to happen. Here it is. And I saw somebody being interviewed about this on another show. It wasn't your direct accuser, but it was someone who has been accusing me of every horrible thing under the sun. Someone I've never met, never spoke to, don't know who she is.
Who also happens to be a friend of my accuser.
Oh, okay. And I've tried to tell people, when somebody joins a new organization like the People's Party, that has no money and no power, they have no power at all, 100% no power. Democratic Party actually has power, and they have a lot of money. So
now that's an important point. The People's Party does have no power. Thank you. So they're challenging the establishment with no power.
I was to join an organization, and then it turned out it wasn't what I thought it was, and I didn't like it, I would leave, and I wouldn't spend another year trying to take down that organization that has no money and no power. That, to me, sounds like an infiltrator who's somehow getting paid somewhere to try to divide the left and try anything, any grassroots...
So Jimmy Dore literally just endorsed the Justice Democrat strategy. He just did it. He literally just endorsed the Justice Democrat strategy. He said, oh, I would join a party that has power and then challenge them because they have power. He just endorsed AOC. He just endorsed the squad. But wait, no. Whoops. No, it's actually, what the fuck is this guy doing? This guy is Looney Tunes. I've been telling you motherfuckers that this guy has been crazy for like 2 to 3 years now. I've been telling you motherfuckers. These motherfuckers are crazy. They are crazy. The People's Party is crazy. Jimmy Dore is crazy. Jackson Hinkle is fucking crazy. All of these people are fucking Looney Tunes. They're dumb, selfish, narcissistic, loser, main character syndrome, dumbass motherfuckers.
Look what they did to force the vote. Look what they did to the Medicare for All marches, right? And it's always the same people who are glomming on. It's the billionaire funded, like guys like Ryan Grimm from the Intercept, who takes a check from 3 different billionaires and then misleads people about forced to vote and Medicare for All and democratic politics and all that stuff, and probably about this issue too. So that's what you're up against. I knew it was coming. I mean, they did it to Bernie. They had a senator. They didn't have a volunteer. They had a senator accuse Bernie of sexism. That's how desperate the Democratic Party gets when you get to the left of them. So so anything else. So Nick, I advise you to go. This would. In a sense, I would try to make lemonade out of this. And, once people get to know you as a 3-dimensional human being, I think that's very helpful to them. And more is going to come. The next thing they're going to do, Nick, is they'll call you a Russian. Mm-hmm. So that's coming. You're going to be Russian. I'm
just being very honest with you. Jimmy Dore was pro-Putin invading Ukraine. Jimmy Dore has come out in favor of Vladimir Putin. As far as I'm concerned, I am 100% convinced you will never convince me otherwise. Jimmy Dore is a Russian asset. So if Nick Brana, I don't know if he's a Russian asset. I don't think he's on Putin's radar, let's be honest, right? But I'm going to be honest. I think Jimmy Dore is very useful to Putin. So I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. If you are in favor of invading Ukraine, let's be honest. There's a lot wrong with your vision.
Racist, you're going to be something. And
I already get those.
Yeah, and so I got them just for being associated with the People's Party. So again, but there's lots of things that are suspect. And
two of the main, can I tell you, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Two of the main objectives that emerged of this more liberal faction inside the People's Party that had positions of power, and which my accuser.
So again, liberal faction. Why are they liberals? Has anyone asked him why they're liberals? Because they believe in vaccines. That's why they're liberals. He said that earlier. This motherfucker. Anyone that is pro-vaccine is a liberal. Like, they could be anti-capitalist, hardcore communist anarchist, right? Abolish borders, abolish states, abolish electoral politics, but they also believe in vaccines, so that makes them a liberal. What? Bro, you can't take this shit seriously, man. They're too dumb. This is too dumb. But I get people, and this is why I'm convinced that no one actually listens to these people and that they're all bots. Because I cannot imagine talking to someone who thinks that being in favor of vaccines makes them a liberal. Imagine just being that fucking stupid. That you think, oh, someone going to the doctor? Pfft, typical liberal. What? You took a supplement to help your fucking bone strength? You're a liberal. You washed your hands before you made supper? Ha! Gotcha, liberal. Like, seriously. Being pro-vaccine makes someone a liberal. I can't even...
Used to split the board and influence in this more liberal direction, along with other contractors at the party. Two of their main objectives were, at the same time, we're currently having a national organizing committee process where delegates from across the country, elected delegates, have come together to form the national charter of the People's Party National Committee. So we're deliberating the rules.
Okay, so they banned everyone who disagreed with them, and now they're making the charter. It's a great idea. DJ Elf, feel free to sign me up for whatever you got going on. Also, DJ Elf, can you get Paula Jean Swearingen to unblock me on Twitter? Is that possible? Because now that she's gone from the People's Party, honestly, water under the bridge for the ketchup queen, Paula Jean. She needs to unblock me. We got to start this campaign. I want to get Paula Jean on my show.
The National Committee. There was a provision that was advocated for and made it in and was inserted into the draft of the charter that would have allowed, if it had not been changed, for Democrats, registered Democrats, to control the state committees in 40 states. Every seat in 40 states, registered Democrats, while we're facing, of course, as a new party, massive attempts of infiltration.
Okay, and? I swear to God, would these people feel the same way if registered Republicans joined their party? You're not a party yet. How can someone switch their registration to People's Party if they're not a fucking party yet? Again, it's a movement for a People's Party. They haven't actually made it official that they are a national party yet, or in most states. So, no shit, someone's going to be a So you're telling them, oh, so we're not a party yet, and we don't have any elections yet. So, but you got to unregister as a Democrat to join the party? Why? Now, if I'm going to join another party, I want to switch my registration. Why would I unregister or change it to affiliated or unaffiliated and then do it again with like... What?
There's a history of infiltration of new
course.
parties. Ralph Nader talks about it. And it would have allowed Democrats to hold a super majority on our national committee. And that was outrageous to the majority of the populist delegates who voted it down.
Who cares? It's not a party yet. What does that mean? Oh, they're Democrats. They're infiltrate Democrats. Go liberals.
Resoundingly.
So, you know what? I just remembered. They even did this to Cenk Uygur. So when Cenk Uygur ran for Congress, they were smearing him left and right as a sexist. Do you remember that in the LA Times headline? And Bernie Sanders had to withdraw his endorsement of Cenk Uygur. Do you remember this? This happened to Cenk.
I do remember that personally. I think Bernie unendorsing Cenk was a bad deal. I think that was kind of shitty. I'm just going to say. I'm just throwing that out there.
Uygur, and then Cenk Uygur turned around and did it to Dore Sheridan. He accused him of rape, or he didn't do it, but he was falsely accused of rape, and he got fired. He lost his job over it. Remember that? Remember when that happened? It was so ironic. Or maybe it happened the other way. It happened to Jordan first, and then it happened to Cenk. I can't remember which way, because I remember saying to them, I go, hey, if you let this garbage happen to Jordan, it could happen to anybody here. Really, anybody here. And they knew it, but apparently Cenk had a special boner for...
I'm just very curious, like, what it means, right? Like, what is it happening here? People fuck up. They do bad things. It happens. Now, I don't know the details with fucking Jordan's bullshit. I've been sent some materials. But I'm not, I'm not all the way read up on that. But if he did something bad, then he did something bad. It happens. Just because you can find a bad example of something like someone getting falsely accused every once in a while, doesn't mean that all of a sudden actual accusations stop happening. So I'm just saying, and what is it? What is it? I don't know what it is. And last time I checked, and again, I could be wrong, but last time I checked, Cenk Uygur got canceled, quote unquote, like it in this instance when it comes to Cenk, was like his stupid ass fucking Republican blog posts from like the late 90s and early 2000s. I did not hear that Cenk Uygur actually assaulted someone or harassed someone in a sexual fashion. He made a bunch of really stupid blog posts when he was a dipshit Republican. It happens. That is not the same thing as sexual assault. That is not the same thing as sexual harassment. So what is it? Why is it? The word it is constantly changing. It all of a sudden means that, then it means this, and it's just, what the hell?
For Jordan, and but Jordan was out of a job. That was that. He was
and you would think
he had sex with a woman, and the woman accused him of rape, and that she was employed by him, right? And so I mean, so this happens, goes around. I mean, this is not a new. This is and
you would think that would have made Jordan more objective or more critical when he hears such a story. But Jordan has been the primary one attacking.
Yesterday, that Nick Brana, the chair of MPP, was under investigation. I had that confirmed yesterday. I didn't have enough of MP harassment. I don't know.
Who actually he's brought on a couple people who have really only tangential knowledge of any of this. I'm sure he'll be happy to bring someone on who actually has direct knowledge of it.
All right. Well, I look forward to that. I'm sure I hope that happens. I hope you have a nice interview over there.
Jimmy,
let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
So how many members are on the board, and how many members were removed?
Currently, there are 5, and 5 were removed.
So there were 10, and so it sounds
there
like
were 11.
So there were 11. So you got rid of little less than half the board, right?
That's right.
So how does that happen? Who has the power to do that?
Well, what happened is actually referred to. We had a majority, as I said. We had 11 out of. So
you had 6 out of 11.
5. Exactly.
Okay.
And what happened is that we discovered, or certain other members of the board raised to me with serious alarm and to our general counsel when they discovered that there was a plan to, in fact, remove me and remove other members of the board and remove delegates, the delegates who had specifically opposed them in this provision that I described earlier that would have allowed Democrats to overrun and control our state and national committees.
Democrats.
So they wanted to remove them, remove me, remove populist leaders from states across the country in the National Organizing Committee. And the other thing that had really set them off and really upset them and really set their sights on removing me and these other populist leaders across the party and delegates to the National Organizing Committee was our support.
Notice the binary he's creating, the populists and the Democrats. And what divides them? People's Party registration. Again, the People's Party isn't a party yet, so. And whether or not they are in favor of vaccination. Like, this is not, like, we're not talking about, like, oh, we like a for-profit healthcare system, or like, oh yeah, Raytheon, pretty good company, or oh yeah, Joe Biden's doing a great job, and I love Nancy Pelosi, actually. No. It's not like these are like, corporate Democrat neoliberals or whatever. They are in favor of vaccines, and they might have not changed their party registration yet. Because, again, the People's Party isn't a party yet.
Of a membership vote on whether the party should come out against COVID vaccine mandates. So they were very opposed to that. I proposed bringing it to the membership, saying this is the People's Party. It is outrageous, the idea that we wouldn't allow our members to decide an issue that is the issue that is essentially the number one populist issue in the world right now. There's the largest populist movement in the world right now is on this issue. Right now, there's essentially a revolution happening in Canada around this issue, and many other countries revolting around it. You talked earlier with Max Blumenthal about what it's being used to usher in the social credit system. So we wanted to put that to the membership, and they were highly opposed to that. And it was another reason that they tried to remove.
There's a revolution in Canada going on right now, folks. These people live in a fantasy world. These people live in a fucking fantasy. There's a revolution in Canada because American billionaires gave a lot of money to some neo-Nazi organizers to like pretend to be truckers for a couple weeks. That means there's a revolution in Canada.
So that's why I'm happy to share tonight and announce tonight that in fact the People's Party will be going ahead with that membership vote, and members will be heard, and they will have the chance to express themselves. And this party is going to be doing what the membership decides in terms of taking the position against or for or staying out of it for COVID vaccine mandates. And I have a strong suspicion that our members are going to be against these mandates and everything they're ushering in.
Okay. So again, I say this: your party is in its infancy. The deck is stacked way against you getting anything done.
Party is in its infancy. It's 6 fucking years old. A little baby. Oh, how old are they? 6.
Have you had any successes against all these odds? Can you name any?
Yeah. Last year we got on the ballot in Florida. This year we got on the ballot in Virginia. We also, you can register as an official People's Party member in many different states. In California, I believe you're registered as a member of the People's Party.
You can register as in the People's Party here in California.
Right.
So that would, people don't know how hard that is to get on the ballot. I mean, that's the big part. That's what the two-party system does. They block you from getting on the ballot, and then if you actually do manage to get on a ballot, they're going to take you to court, and then they want to keep you tied up in court. And so when Ralph Nader ran, he was spending all of his money instead of campaigning, he was spending it on lawyers fighting for ballot access, and so that's how they get you. And so people make a big deal. Is your father the treasurer of the People's Party?
He is. Yes.
And people say that's a problem. What do you say to that?
I say, haven't we had enough problems with infiltration and disruption that we want somebody who we can trust in that position? And also, to anybody who has a problem with that, we are legally required to report all donations and expenditures over $200 to the IRS. And so feel free to go look it up. We even put it on our website. You can find it anywhere. So anyone who has a problem with that, go dig through the financial records yourself.
Okay. And those are available, right, with the Where can people find those financial records?
Available to all. They can go to the IRS, or they can go to our transparency page.
We're going to go to the fucking IRS, folks. We're going to investigate the goddamn People's Party.
Go to peoplesparty.org. Under the About tab, you'll find transparency, and there you'll find a link to the IRS. So have at it.
Okay. All right, Nick. Well, good luck with this unbelievably big task you've put on your shoulders of trying to build a third party in a country that most of the people, first of all, half the people want one. Over half the people want a third party that's viable. But for some reason, the other half of the people who vote all the time think it can't be possible. They go, well, you can't vote for a third party until there's a lot of people already voting for a third party. Well, you have to start somewhere. Right? You can't wait for someone else to get. So you got to do it. So I've been telling people that it's time that if you're Republican or if you usually vote Democrat, Republican, it's time to withhold your vote from those parties. It's time to do it.
So anyway, that's their spiel. It's boring. We've all heard it. So okay, the response to the sexual harassment allegations, he didn't talk about the specifics at all. Like, this isn't, he didn't like go into, oh, well, she claimed I did this. I have an alibi. I actually, that was the night that, my dad and I went to Arby's. And then I recorded a video for TikTok in, the car, and you can see the radio clock was saying that I was. So he didn't actually talk about the allegations at all. He just called everyone else a liberal and a Democrat, and then just talked about liberal Democrats. Canada's having a revolution, bro. It's going to be epic. Anyway, folks, that's boring. I wasted too much time on this, but I love this shit. I live for it. I'm so entertained. I'm so endlessly entertained looking at these goofballs. And so I will see y'all later. Thank you all for watching. And, hopefully everything going on with Ukraine is, I don't know, but in Texas, there's so much going on.